Testing, testing, testing. You can hear my voice. This is me talking far away. This is me talking up close. This is a rectangle, and you can see the lines if they bulge or not because of the fisheye lens, which my other webcam has. And on my other webcam, which records in 2K video, so it's a better webcam, I assume, and it has a fisheye lens, so lines towards the sides of the screen bulge. And in this case, on this webcam, I'm not really seeing all that much in the way of bulging. The lines are staying fairly straight. You can see it starting to, the fisheye lens quality, you can kind of start to see. It's hard to keep things straight because I'm looking at my computer screen and it is mirrored to the opposite, so I'm not as slick as I would like to be in my movements because I'm trying to it's not really in focus. That's when it becomes in focus, but the text is too small to read. You can read that line, but the other text is too small. You can read that. A bit there, it's kind of sort of in focus-ish on the big text. Apatow's funniest film yet. 4 stars, Empire. Adam Sandler, Seth Rogen and Leslie Mann star in this seriously funny film from writer-director Judd Apatow, the 40-year-old virgin and knocked up. When famous comedian George Simmons, Sandler, is given a second chance at a new beginning, he and his assistant, a struggling comedian, Ira Rogan, return to the places and people that matter most, including the stand-up spots that gave him his start and the girl that got away. Man. Co-starring Jonah Hill, Eric Bana and Jason Schwartzman, it's the film that critics have hailed as uproariously funny. So there you go. This is it. So you can get a sense of what the sound quality from the inbuilt microphone sounds like. I believe it only records at 32 kilobits per second, which is terrible for music. The average lossy music file is probably going to be 256 to 200 to from 256 kilobits per second to 320 kilobits per second. That's kind of what you would be streaming on a music service if you're doing lossy music. But 32 is perfectly fine for spoken word. And this is a webcam really designed for meetings and that type of thing, where it's going to just be spoken word. So that's action. So you can see there's some blur, but it's not like it's a problem. Put it this way, you wouldn't want to shoot an action movie with it, but if you're just taking a meeting with someone online, or you just want to record yourself maybe doing YouTube videos or something, then it's adequate, it does the job. Considering that currently this is £12 recommended retail price, I believe, on Amazon, you can't really complain at the quality. I mean, at that price, you would expect it to be a lot worse. I had a webcam, this is like more than 6 or 7 years ago, of roughly the same price range, and it had a terrible microphone. The picture quality was fine, but the microphone was just absolute garbage. So this, you can hear me. So there is a slight bit of a fisheye lens here. There is some distortion, but it's very minimal. I mean, in comparison to my other webcam, which, as I said, was a little bit more expensive than this and shoots in 2K, that has a much more distorted image. This right here, at this top corner of the screen, this would be like a banana shape. I will now cut to footage of my other 2K webcam. Aye, just some more sounds for you to hear. Right, other webcam. Now, this is my 2K webcam, and I just want to show you, see the distortion on the lines. The lines are not straight. The lines are straight in the centre for the most part, but as soon as you get away from the centre, you see it starts to bend. That's the fish angle lens, fisheye lens I think they call it. You see the distortion, it's almost, I wouldn't say banana shaped, but it's certainly not straight. So I just wanted to compare. So I would say you could argue that that new webcam, the one that this is a review for, actually has better picture quality than this camera, this webcam. Not saying it does, I'm just saying you could argue it. So the previous video was plugged in to the computer through the front socket using the USB 3, and apparently it only came to about 16 frames per second rather than about 30, which is what you're really supposed to have. And the sound quality was actually 192 kilobits per second, which is actually rather good. So now I'm shooting this with USB 2 in a rear socket, and hopefully this time I will get a better frame rate. Red's Academy Award winning director Warren Beatty's acclaimed epic comes to DVD for the first time as a 2-disc special edition collector's version, laden with never before seen special features. The film, based on actual events, tells the story of John Reed Beatty, American communist, journalist and activist whose love affair with writer feminist Louise Bryant, Diane Keaton, who recently died, unfolds against the explosive background of the Russian Revolution. Jack Nicholson, Paul Sorvino, Maureen Stapleton, Edward Herman and Jerzy Kosinski. He wrote a really interesting book called Being There, which was turned into a movie starring Peter Sellers. If you've never seen Being There, I really recommend it, especially in the era of Trump. It's about a man with mental problems. You know, he's not the smartest guy in the world and he becomes president, basically. People mistake his simplistic utterances as being great, big, deep political messages. Anyway, well worth seeing. Also star in this classic film masterpiece, which garnered more Academy Award nominations for 1981, 12, than any other film in the previous 15 years. On Oscar night, Reds walked away with coveted statuettes for Best Director, Beatty, Best Supporting Actress, Stapleton, and Vittorio Storaro's sweeping cinematography. So, as you can see, there's not too much distortion. Okay, I have now plugged this new webcam into the front of my computer using USB 3, and I got 16 frames a second apparently. And I've now, currently this is plugged into the rear of the computer using USB 2, and it is also getting me about 16 frames a second. So cinema film is 24 frames a second, and I think computers tend towards 30 frames a second. So that's underwhelming, but as far as I can tell, it only really is noticeable if there's movement. You can see that smear as I move my hand back and forth. If this was 24 frames a second, it would be smoother, and if it was 30 frames a second, it would be even more smoother. So that's the downside. So if you're going to be moving around a lot, you're going to be very smeared because the frame rate isn't really very good. But if you're going to be sitting and just talking, it doesn't matter. So if you're making YouTube videos, you could get away with it, but if you need really good production values, immaculate visuals, then no, I would not recommend this. You could make YouTube videos on it, And if you don't really require the videos to be pretty, they just have to be competent basic, this is fine. Also, can you hear a slight hiss in the background? A kind of a digital smear of audio. It's a similar thing to me moving my hand back and forth, and you see that visual smear. There's also kind of a slight audio smear, and it's my other 2K webcam, which is also quite a cheap webcam. It does the same, in which you can hear this sort of digital, I would say it's a little digital hiss, like a background noise that I can hear from time to time. I don't know if you can pick it up, but I can. And so this webcam and my other webcam, both of them are on the cheap side. They have that background noise. So again, you can get your own webcam and you don't have to use the existing microphone inside the webcam. You can have your own microphone. So if you're just doing meetings and talking to friends or whatever, or you're making very basic YouTube videos in which production values don't need to be super duper amazing and immaculate, then this is fine. This for £12, this is really remarkable, and I actually think this is really quite impressive. But if you are needing to do something a little bit better with good presentation, this on the surface at first glance seems to be actually quite adequate, but as I say, there's that background digital hiss and the frame rate's quite low on this. As I say, this is apparently on, no matter if I'm in the front socket or the rear socket, and in theory the rear socket gives you better quality. It's the components are better, supposedly. I don't know. There's a line of thought is that the rear components, that the rear socket will give you better quality. So I've been in the front socket and the rear socket with USB 3 and USB 2, and both times I've ended up with allegedly 16.5 frames a second. So as I say, that results in a digital smear. So if I was making YouTube videos and all it needs to be is presentable and nothing more than that, in which production values do not matter, then I would actually be quite happy to use this. But if you are doing something that does require some pretty visuals and some higher quality audio, then I would not recommend it. I have to imagine if this is what you get for £12, then what you can get for £30 must be a whole lot better. So I like this. I think this is good. I actually have very few complaints with it, but and it is really good for £12, but it is definitely not perfect. As I say, only supposedly 16 frames a second, which is very underwhelming. So if you don't mind presentation not being amazing, then this is fine.